Greetings, everyone. I want to talk about the new moon on September 14th, and let me show you the chart. At the time of this new moon, Sun and Moon will be at 21 degrees of Virgo, and they will be opposite Neptune at 26 degrees of Pisces. Remember, our full moon on August 30th or 31st, depending on where you were around the globe, had the moon, full moon, that powerful supermoon conjunct Neptune. Now both the sun and moon are opposite Neptune. And notice that Neptune is retrograde as well as so many of the outer planets at this time. And that energy of planets being retrograde is a time of reflection, a time of reviewing the energy of that planet, what it's calling into our awareness. So this new moon is a reflective time. And with this opposition between Neptune and the sun and moon in Virgo, remember, any configuration in the chart has its gift and its shadow side. The gift of this configuration is that it is calling us, Neptune in Pisces, into expanded spiritual awareness and consciousness. Neptune is calling us back into our remembrance of the oneness of all that is. It heightens our intuition, our creativity. It calls us into deeper compassion. So this new moon can support us in our process, as so many of us are awakening and moving into higher consciousness. This new moon can be very supportive of us with that, with the powerful spiritual energies of this time. With the opposition with the sun and moon in Virgo, remember that Virgo is that sign that is about how are we embodying who we are in our day-to-day lives. How are we using our gifts to be of service to others? So if we're working with this opposition consciously, Neptune is expanding our consciousness, bringing us into deeper compassion, a deeper longing to be of service to others with our gifts. And then the sun and moon are supporting us in how we manifest that, how we bring that into our day-to-day lives. And in that this is the new moon, you may not have a clear sense of how that's going to fully manifest. Remember that the new moon is an important time to meditate, to open to your inner guidance, to be tuning in to what is the meaning of this lunar cycle for you. And I would encourage you to look at where this opposition in particular falls in your chart. Where are you called to be opening more to your intuition, to your spiritual awareness, to then embody it in your life and in how you're being of service to others? So see what houses this opposition lands in your chart. I think it's significant also that this new moon is in aspect to Uranus, Jupiter, and Pluto. Particularly the trines with Uranus and Pluto form a wide, grand trine. So we're being supported with that trine to Pluto, which continues to be in the final degrees of Capricorn, to look at what structures in our lives are we needing to let go of, are we needing to transform, as Pluto is also activating that in our collective consciousness. What are the systems, structures, patterns in our collective lives, in our systems and structures that are needing to be broken down in order to create space for the new forms to emerge? And remember, Pluto is continuing to square the lunar nodes through the end of the year. So it is that energy calling us into this karmic choice point to be in a process of transformation. And if we're not working that consciously, it can be an increasing effort to hang on to control or old paradigms or a sense of power over an abuse of power, Pluto, when we're not really tuning into the deeper meaning of this transit. The trine with Uranus is calling us into clarity, into truth, in its wide conjunction to Jupiter, looking at what are the beliefs that we're holding on to and what beliefs do we need to let go of? How are we transforming our ways of thinking in order to be moving into these new paradigms and preparing to move into this new age? I think that's particularly significant at the time of this new moon because Mercury has now gone stationary. It's come out of its retrograde, is stationary, and will go direct on September 16th. So remember, when a planet is stationary, it's more prominent. It's calling our attention to that planet and its energy. And Mercury in Virgo, its own sign, is asking us to look at our thoughts, our beliefs, how we are viewing ourselves, our lives, how we are looking at what is going on in the world in this time. What are our beliefs? What are the thoughts that tend to consciously or unconsciously control our behavior? I think that theme is particularly important at the time of this new moon, in that the shadow side of Neptune opposite the sun and moon, instead of it being about opening to higher consciousness, to compassion, to that awareness of our interconnectedness and oneness with all that is, the shadow side of Neptune opposite the sun and the moon can be getting caught in illusion, delusion, addiction, escapism. I think one of the challenges that we're dealing with right now on our planet, because of our interconnectedness with each other through the internet, through the ways in which we are tuning into what's going on around the globe, because of the ways in which there are efforts on the part of some to manipulate how we think about things, how we see things, the lens through which we're seeing global events and what's unfolding on the planet. We can either, as Anne Baring talked about in her book, Messages from a Transcendent Dimension, one of the channeled messages that came through to her mother was that in this time, as we're transitioning into the age of Aquarius, we will either awaken and move into a higher consciousness, or we will move into collective insanity. And I think in many ways, in these past few years, we've been seeing more and more collective illusion, delusion, insanity on our planet. And part of the energies of this new moon, these transits with the outermost planets, the transpersonal planets, are calling us to awaken. Uranus cut through to the heart of what's true and come into clarity. Neptune, awaken and expand your consciousness. Pluto, be in this time of transformation and release the patterns from the past to move into clarity, higher consciousness, the paradigms of this new age. And remember that Pluto is continuing to square Eris Xena and will through the end of the year, which again is not only supporting us in letting go of the paradigms of the past, but Eris Xena, that planet who dares to follow her own unique path, is supporting us and saying we can move in some new directions, North Node in Aries, following our own unique path, breaking out of conventional reality to listen to our own inner guidance, to move into that expanded consciousness, and then follow our own unique path. And at this time, Arizina is exactly conjunct the North Node with Chiron nearby, continuing to support us in our healing process and in how we're healing our sense of self, healing our understanding of Aries energy, so that we can act and be expressing ourselves in the world in a new way with Arizina's help. And remember, Arizina, in her true meaning, is about how we follow a path guided by spirit to be of service, to be in alignment with justice and what's healing in the world in this time. I think it's also profound that the energies of the sacred feminine are very powerful at the time of this new moon. And as you've heard me talk about in so many videos, and in my conversation with Anne Baring, we were emphasizing that. And I really encourage you to see that interview if you haven't already. But truly, for us as humanity to come back into balance in this time, we need to reintegrate the energies of the sacred feminine with the sacred masculine, the energies of the right brain, ways of knowing, with the left brain, ways of knowing, to be integrating our intuition with our analytical thinking, which is very much about what this opposition is about. And we need to be coming back into right relationship with ourselves, with each other, with all of life. Neptune in Pisces, opposite Virgo. Virgo is the constellation of the great goddess. So we are being called to awaken to that higher consciousness by reintegrating the sacred feminine. And that is profoundly emphasized at the time of this new moon by the way in which Pluto is continuing to be in a square with Ceres, the asteroid, on the south node, and Arizina, and right now exactly conjunct Ceres is the dwarf planet, the Kuiper Belt object, Haumea, that goddess, Hawaiian goddess of fertility, who knows how to continually renew herself and take us through this cycle of life, death, rebirth. So the energies in alignment with the lunar nodes are calling us to reintegrate the energy of these goddesses, the energy of the sacred feminine, to reinvent ourselves, to move in new directions, Arizina, and to come back into right relationship with the earth, Ceres, and to remember that we are a part of the sacredness of the life on this planet. We are not meant to dominate, exploit, and destroy the life around us, but to come back into balance, come back into harmony, come back into right relationship. And that whole theme of right relationship is underscored by the fact that Venus has now, as of September 4th, gone from being retrograde to now being direct. So remember, in her journey, she's emerged about August 21st from her underworld experience, her time of transformation, where she's called to be reflecting on her sense of self, her relationships with others. She's now emerged as a morning star, is now moving in a direct manner, helping us to integrate that transformation process that we were all called into with that time with Venus in her disappearance in the underworld, to now be integrating what we've learned about how we're finding lost parts of ourselves, how we're coming into more right relationship with ourselves, how we're clearing unhealthy dynamics in our relationships with others, and now beginning to integrate that new way of being within ourselves and in our dynamics with others. And Venus is now squaring Jupiter. So Jupiter is supporting us in how we move into those new patterns in relationship. And again, supporting us in how we're changing our thoughts and beliefs and our perspectives to be more in right relationship with each other and the earth, Taurus. There's one other, and I know these charts with the Kuiper Belt objects and outer dwarf planets can be a little bit overwhelming, but there's one other configuration that is extremely important in the chart of this new moon. I'd mentioned how Maya being exactly conjunct Ceres and in conjunction with the South Node, but I also want to highlight the placement of Orcus between Mercury, now stationary, and the sun and the moon. And Orcus is this dwarf planet, one of the Kuiper Belt objects, that is named after the Roman or Etruscan god of the underworld, who is the punisher of those who break their oaths, of those who are in violation of the laws of justice and of truth. I think as this new moon is calling us to look at our thoughts and beliefs and how we are perceiving what's going on around us, it's also calling us to look at our commitments and our integrity and how we are being true to our deeper soul selves and those commitments that we've made to ourselves about how we are in alignment with our path and purpose in this lifetime, how we are in alignment with truth, with justice, with higher consciousness. Orcus is in aspect to Jupiter, and again, Jupiter's in a wide conjunction with Uranus. So we are really being challenged to look at what ways are we keeping those deeper truths, commitments to our soul selves, to our integrity, to the way in which we are living in the world out of compassion, truth, and justice. Orcus was the one in the underworld who would hold people accountable. And it relates to that karmic accountability for the choices that we make and the decisions in how we violate our deeper truths, our deeper oaths, our integrity, or live in alignment with that. And again, with Pluto squaring the lunar nodes, this is such a powerful karmic choice point for us individually and collectively. And I think in the collective, this configuration with Orcus is supporting the increasing clarity in the collective about the illusions, delusions that have been perpetuated, about the ways in which decisions have been made that are not honoring truth and justice and compassion for humanity and for the earth. This is a time of accountability for us individually and collectively. So as you move into this time of the new moon, and remember the day before the new moon, the day of the new moon, and the day after are when we're in the dark of the moon. The moon does not appear in that new sliver of the new moon until the moon has moved 13 degrees from the sun. So this time of the dark of the moon is a very sacred time, found time to go within, to meditate, to listen to your inner guidance, to listen to your spirit guides, to do a shamanic journey, to allow yourself to open to the energies of this new moon and the guidance that's specifically there for you and how to work with these energies. And given that Neptune is so powerful in this new moon, it will be a mystical time, a time to tune in intuitively, not through your analytical mind. Allow yourself to open to what you're feeling, open to the images arising. Stay very tuned into your dreams during that period of time, and allow yourself to sense and feel and intuit what is that guidance guiding you to release in your life. How is it supporting you in seeing where you're out of balance? How is it supporting you in seeing what contracts you've made, perhaps out of the trauma from the past, that are not true to your inner self, not true to your soul self? What are those deeper promises, commitments that you've made that are a part of your true self, your soul self, that are about your being in alignment with your path and purpose? These powerful energies with Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune at this new moon are helping us get that clarity, are helping us cut through illusion to come into connection with our true self, to help us let go of the patterns that we need to release, to then awaken and move into higher consciousness, not from a place of transcending, but from a place of ascending in who we are in this incarnation, by aligning our embodiment with that higher consciousness, with that fifth dimensional knowing. This is what we're capable of. And know that as we're in this process, in this community of healing and awakening and moving into this higher consciousness and these paradigms of the Aquarian age, there are many on the planet who are actually getting pulled more and more into illusion and delusion and disconnection and imbalance. Hold that with compassion. We're all on our own journey. We're all at this karmic choice point, each of us individually as well as collectively deciding the path that we're on. But don't get pulled into the storminess of what's going on the planet or what's going on with the illusion and delusion. Stay in alignment with your own inner knowing, your own truth, your own awakening. And let me show you now where this new moon is in the sky at the time of this new moon. So again, as I've said in my earlier videos, where the sun and the moon are in the tropical zodiac chart is approximately 23 degrees from where it's actually configured in the sky. And the sidereal zodiac shifts the positions of the sun and moon with the precessional cycle in a way that isn't true in the tropical zodiac chart, that's gotten fixed in time, approximately 1,500 years ago. But what we're seeing in visual astrology is where the sun and moon and planets literally are in the stars at the time of these critical points in the lunar cycle. And that gives us a whole other sense of the energy or the consciousness coming through in this time. And then the tropical zodiac shows us how we embody that on the earth plane. But the sun and moon at the time of this new moon are actually between the stars of Leo, moving into the stars of Virgo. And if you remember, Virgo is that image of the goddess with these wings, holding the sheaf of wheat, which is symbolic of her gifts and how she is bringing her gifts to be of service to the people. But with this configuration with the sun and the moon moving into the stars of Virgo, they're moving into connecting with the wing of the great goddess, which is very symbolic of how are we holding, while we're here on the earth plane, Virgo, while we're embodied, how are we holding this higher consciousness, awareness that we are infinite beings, we are soul selves, we We have our own wings and experience of cosmic consciousness, of the way in which that soul self never dies. But we are holding that awareness of the soul self, of our spiritual guidance, to bring it into embodiment, to bring it into our experience on the earth plane, so that we are manifesting that love and wisdom and compassion to come back into balance and harmony, to have that capacity together to be co-creating a new earth where we are embodied, but holding that higher consciousness in a profound way that is about our ascension, our transfiguration, our movement into a new frequency, a new reality, our movement into being Homo luminous ones. I think it's also profound that Mars is in the stars of Virgos, supporting us in how we're enacting this higher consciousness that we're more and more moving into. Mercury, that's now stationary and about to go direct, is beneath the stars of Leo, close to the royal star Regulus. So again, helping us to get clear in how we're seeing and thinking about our lives and our experience, and coming from the heart with courage. Again, how do we let our minds be in service to our hearts, rather than getting caught up in left brain analytical thinking in a way that can throw us off balance? This new moon is so much about bring your heart and your intuition into alignment, to let your mind be in service to that. It's also significant that that dwarf planet Orcus is here between the new moon and Mercury, again, under the stars of Leo, supporting us in looking at how are we in alignment with our integrity or out of alignment with our integrity? How are we staying committed to our soul's purpose, our deeper oaths and commitment to clear our karma, to be on a path of healing and a path of spiritual expansiveness? So this is a powerful time, and I do feel that these energies in the lunar cycles, these energies, and we're moving soon into the eclipse season. We're moving into this time, I think, between now and the end of 2024, when we're on an increasingly accelerated path of healing, awakening, transformation. Or, because this is a karmic choice point, those who aren't on a path of healing and awakening are on that path of increasing imbalance, illusion, delusion, acting out, destruction. But again, those of us who are awakening, who are holding this higher consciousness, who are daring to stay true to our inner integrity, our truth, our inner knowing, our guidance from cosmic consciousness, have the capacity to connect with each other around the globe, energetically, spiritually, and hold this web of healing, this web of awakening, to support the collective consciousness moving into this new paradigm, this new age, this ascension into new ways of being. So may we stay true to ourselves and our own alignment with our soul selves. May we open to the guidance from spirit, from cosmic consciousness that's there for us in a powerful way at this time. And may we continue to hold each other in compassion, Pisces and Neptune, and support each other. Remember our oneness, our interconnectedness with each other, with the energies that surround the earth that are guiding us and supporting us, and with cosmic consciousness. Blessings and love to all of you. Blessed be.